has all the fast food restaurants on it, you're making your decision on some key things. You know, maybe it's what you're in the mood for and you want Mexican tonight, so you're going to Taco Bell, or maybe you really like the sandwich that Wendy's has, or something like that. But maybe if you got kids, it's Happy Meals, and maybe if it's a nutrition thing, you have a salad at McDonald's that you like, or maybe it's if it's value, you know, whichever one is running the special that you want. You're making that decision based on a number of different things. Well, one competitive advantage that we have is French fries, and they just, we don't know why our competitors don't know how to cook potatoes, but we don't want them to find out. And so when it comes to trans fat, we want to get the trans fat out of our French fries on the one hand, but we don't want to give up that competitive advantage that says we want McDonald's French fries to taste like McDonald's French fries. So, so they set the R&D people in order to look at this and say, how do we get the trans fats out of there without changing the taste profile? And so they start looking at that, and they start frying them in canola oil and peanut oil and coconut oil and all these different things, and trying to find a blend that doesn't have trans fats in it, but that still tastes the same. And if I was just operating my own restaurant, I could go out and cook my product in canola oil, and that would take care of the issue, although it wouldn't address the taste. The taste would change. So they find this blend. One of the easy things they found was that if they put coconut oil in, it worked, except for a lot of people who are allergic to coconut oil, and so you'd be actually creating a bigger monster than you just addressed. So they find this blend of stuff, and it's mainly canola oil with some other things in there that's going to work, and it's going to do everything we want it to do, and there isn't enough canola oil in the world in order to address McDonald's. So they have to now go to the farmers and say, where you're planting corn now, we want you to plant canola. And so, as you can see, you know, locally, it would be easy to kind of change on a dime and say, okay, you know, bam, canola oil, I'm done, and we can move on. But when you've kind of got this huge monster of a company, you can't do that, and so it takes a while, and it's going to take a growing season before we're going to do it. So the other thing, which you may not agree with, and I don't really agree with that they're doing, is that, as you can imagine, the typical consumer, if you brought in 2 French fries and you said this one was cooked in vegetable oil and this one was cooked in canola oil, you know, can you tell a difference? Most of us, well, a lot of people are going to say yes, versus if they're just eating it, they might not notice any difference at all. So McDonald's has made the decision that they are going to make the transition to non-TFA fats without making a public announcement of it until the entire transition is done. So it's very likely that you already are eating non-TFA fries, but that because not everybody has moved that way yet, and because we don't want people all of a sudden say, oh yeah, they taste different, it's going to, when the announcement comes out, it's going to be, yeah, that's the way that we've been serving them for the last 4 months. So.
How many McDonald's franchises?
When you, I assume you, on occasion you may eat at Arby's or Wendy's or some other place. Do you feel guilty when you do that?
Once a month, whether I want to or not, I go into both of my primary competitors, which are Burger King and Wendy's, and I just find out what's new on their menu, and I order up some food, and I taste it, and they know me, and I write down all their prices. I try to get them to just give me a price list because they know me, but they won't, and they make me actually write it all out. So yeah, I do. But my children have been well conditioned that you know, some people are not all that smart, and that's probably because their parents took them to Burger King when they were very small, and you know. You ask how many franchises there are? I don't know. Someplace around 17,000. 3 interesting facts. There are more Dunkin' Donuts franchises than McDonald's franchises now. They just passed us last year. You know, you can imagine they can set up a whole lot more cheaply than we are. Chicken. We sell more chicken than Kentucky Fried Chicken. You can impress your friends with that little fact. And we sell more chicken than we do beef. So most people think of McDonald's as a hamburger place. Last year was the first year that and it's in a lot of stuff. I mean, with hamburgers is basically just, you know, there's hamburgers and cheeseburgers and quarter pounders, but with chicken, it's nuggets and selects and McChicken sandwiches and crispy chicken sandwiches and grilled chicken sandwiches and salads and soup and all kinds of stuff. So it's in a lot of products.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Unless someone else has a question on.
You go, and then we're done.
Okay, we're done now. The average college student, someone here may be thinking, boy, I'd love to be a franchise owner at McDonald's. Becoming a store manager is probably not the path to pursue. They want their career out with a college degree. What are the first steps for moving into being a franchise owner? What would you suggest? Career advice?
Yeah, two paths. One would be to be employed by the McDonald's Corporation, to be employed by the franchisor, and then make the transition from there to ownership. And they hire professional people who do everything from we hire accountants and HR people and research people and you know, all kinds of things. Otherwise, it would be you would probably need to, when you leave here, you're not going to have a big enough nest egg in order to do this. You would have to go establish yourself in your career, and in order to have the capital in order to do it. Worst thing you could do, regardless of what business, if you're going to be a business owner, you don't want to be undercapitalized. That's not a fun place to be. So to make your money in order to have that initial investment, and then approach McDonald's and say, you know, I'm interested in being a franchisee, and then they have a process that you go through as far as learning operations and learning the back office parts and all those kind of things.
How much capital would you recommend?
Average McDonald's in the United States so we'll talk about buying an existing restaurant. You can buy a restaurant that's never been built. There aren't as many of those, but let's talk about buying an existing restaurant. Average McDonald's in the United States makes $2 million a year top line sales. And the general rule of thumb is that the cost of that McDonald's is either half of top line sales, so it would cost $1 million, or 5 times whatever it cash flows. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're in a very tight labor market, or something like that, your profitability is not going to be as high, so the value of your McDonald's is lower. So you can, usually those two numbers are fairly close to each other, and you would have to go in with the 25% down payment, plus the $50,000. So, plus you have to buy your equipment and food. So you wouldn't want to go in with less than $500,000 probably. Now you can borrow. I mean, that's an option, but they're going to want to see that you have 25% ready in order to go in, and then pay it back for the rest of your life. What's that? All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.